Hi YouTube, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. There might be a little bit of noise here. Doug's putting some wood in the shed. He probably won't know I'm doing a video. That happens sometimes, but I'm not ever asking anybody for any money or help in any way. So I don't expect anything out of you, so please see my best for what it is. And that's all I can say about that. I'm going to talk today about overcoming dark times in our lives and outcomes of situations in our lives, navigating uh, unexpected endings in our lives or outcomes. Like, say, like if you're going to go get a job and you think that you're the best qualified person for that job, and you don't get it. But then a better job comes into your life because you didn't just go home and cry about it. You keep going, you keep looking, you keep searching, and then you get even a better job in position than what you ever even wanted because you didn't fall into the poor me situation and you kept a level mind with your critical thinking, you know. So I'm going to talk more about that too because it really isn't an important. I used to suffer with depression and they wanted to give me all kinds of pills and, you know, then the connection with sorrows and trauma, physical trauma, plus emotional or even like people, I've seen this, I've experienced this. Being parentified by a parent and suffering incestuous trauma. It's it's an emotional incest is what happens to some people. It's really hard to overcome that type of thing, but you always have to realize that this isn't something any child ever did. It's the parents that can't regulate their own thoughts and their own emotions, and they have a illness inside themselves that you sometimes cannot do anything for them, but you can overcome it for yourself. Realizing that your parents or my parents weren't the only type of people in this world that do things like that. It is not a very comforting thought, but it's a true thought and it's a connection with other people that we have. So, cheers, everybody. Happy weekend for real. So, just my strength in overcoming um, so many chaotic changes in my life that if I just looked at it like trauma and not an adventure, I wouldn't even be sitting here. You know, even injuries I've had or broken bones, that surprised me when I had some of them. I never did with all the things like falling 20 or 30 feet and feeling like I bounced instead of breaking, But so when you break something, it really, if you're super active, um, and I think about times that, well, I couldn't do like 100 backflips, and I'm not really a good front flipper. Um, like cartwheels aren't my things. Round-offs, yeah. Cartwheels, no. Backflips, yes. I did 9 on 10. I get pretty dizzy. But even while I was doing that, it never even occurred to me that something really could happen. I don't know. I felt infallible, you know. Anyway, oh shoot. I still feel that way. I'm a lot more cautious because of my age, but I still feel um like if it were an emergency or whatever, if you keep your strength and your speed up in your life, you really can handle any situation pretty much, you know, if you keep your strength up. A lot of people don't. I was reading a chart over on Facebook. I don't think I shared it, but because I didn't want to just keep insulting people all the time, but there's people that are can't lift their own body weight. They cannot deadlift their own body weight. They cannot walk up a set of stairs without being winded. I mean, just a lot of things that is, it's a trip, you know. What are they going to do when they get older if they're, you know, whatever. So I didn't share it. There was a whole list of what people are suffering right now, and I share a lot of things. Some are meant to make people laugh. Others people will take serious. If they know me, they're going to be laughing. If they don't know me, they're going to think, well, you're an arrogant bitch. And I'd be like, okay, if you think so. You know, anyway. So, yeah, it just depends on who they are, how they're going to view it, and their life, a person's life, what makes you think and feel, um, what conditioning have people been through to give them either putting up walls or an openness for other people that some may not have, whatever. But just to be able to carry on and adapt in chaos. I'm not saying, and I will never suggest for somebody to stay in a chaotic situation that is dangerous, if it's a physical threat or even an emotional that could become physical with enough, if you're around enough nonsense, whatever it is, it's going to affect you, you know. It's like a mom when she has 13 children. Well, you just kept sleeping with that dude, and now you want to take a nap. What do you expect? We have to look at things logically. What do we bring upon ourselves in this world? And if you have, uh, well, being authentic. Okay, here's the thing with my authentic self. I don't need to control everybody because I feel self-assured within myself. I'm not everybody else. I'm me. And so, like going back to that job I didn't get, I'm happy I didn't get it because I have a better one now. That type of feeling. And if you approach life, and it could be a lesser paying job, it could even be more manual work. But say if you got hired to wash windows, but you like being outside and it's a sunny day and you might be listening to music and working or whatever it is, it might suit you more than what you thought would impress you. That feeling. I've gotten that a lot in my life. I'm fortunate that I can function after trauma. I know that because that's what I do. I don't let these things get me down in life. Never. The seven spirits of God, the woman carries his virtue. That's the foundation of humanity. And that's the spirit that women should carry because we can't have a weakened sense of ourselves and be the nurturing part of the family if we allow ourselves to be um, submissed within ourselves, like not to critically think and overcome and keep ourselves mentally and physically fit. These things are super important. Yeah, we all have our weak times, every single one of us, you know. And with couples, what are you going to tolerate? What are you going to settle for less than what you want? For me, that's a big no way. No way. Not ever. I'd rather be alone. I think, well, maybe most people can handle it. I don't know. I like to be around people, but I don't need that recognition and I just don't need that like some other people thrive on that type of thing. Like if you're in a group of people or whatever and there's like some women are louder or flashy or whatever, but if you like find one good person to go and have a great conversation with, to me that would make a party or a gathering more pleasing than I had mentioned about parties, um, and somebody was thinking, what, like junkies laying around, shooting shit in their arms and whatever. No, I'm talking about maybe smoking a doobie with some friends and their children and having a pizza party and playing Uno, putting on some music and the kids are dancing, or that's my kind of party, not the one you're thinking. The one you're thinking of, I still didn't gather in those types of areas. Rarely would I make an appearance on a scene like that. And even in my young adult life, I had different clubs I would go to, like the launching pad and standing room only, and First Avenue and Goofy's, and a few other places where music and dance and game rooms and like that. I mean, I wasn't one to. I don't know what other people do, and things really are a lot different than they used to be in some ways, but my party probably isn't what some of your parties had been, so, no. I was too busy in my life. I was, like, working ranches and hospitals and things out west when I was still underage, it's like, no, I'm probably not sitting in your city partying like you partied. My party was, maybe having a drink and dancing so much into the night that nothing I ate or drank even affected me, except for this one time. Well, those ones that, and lucky I was way out in the middle of nowhere and driving on the my boss's land all the way home. Seriously, I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of acres. These people own like 110 sections of land going up into Canada. So when I said I'm like driving on his land all the way home, there is no traffic out there. So anyway, and I was lucky for that because the car drove itself home that night. Well, and I was working in the garden and milking cows, and I had a horse I had to break, and I was so sick. I was sick for 2 weeks after that one. Man. Note to self, never drink lime vodka sours because I lost count. Wow. I learned when I got older, I couldn't mix any kind of liquor or alcohol with soda. No. And I could drink beer, but I had to be really careful of my sugar levels and be really aware of it. Or sweet drinks or whatever it was, that type of thing. I had to be really careful. So, yeah. I was talking over on 007s the other day. I had written in the chat. He was talking about, I didn't know they had brown recluse spiders in any part of Europe. I thought they were an American thing. He said he got bit and it was only like two little holes in him. Well, I think I had this one chewing on me in the same spot continuously for a while in this cabin where I lived with my kids. So I had to try and find this thing too, which I did finally kill at least one. But I ended up with a spot that big around that was black and really deep into my flesh, um, really close to my heart. I had to dig a piece of flesh out of myself because I was up there with no help at all or phone. I've been in some really weird situations where I've had to do operations on myself. I had a pint of whiskey, or a half pint, they call a Mickey, just in case I wanted, like, if my ex was around. I didn't ever drink with my children when there wasn't somebody to help with a situation or no, no. But anyway, so I'm not your typical person, whatever, you know. But so anyway, I waited till they were asleep and I drank a couple shots. I didn't want to have too much because, oh, excuse me. I didn't want to have too much because then I was afraid I would do something to myself and make matters worse, and then my kids would be there alone. And there were like wild pigs and mountain lions and rattlesnakes and all kinds of stuff there. So yes, this brown recluse killed some of my flesh, and I had to dig it out so it didn't spread. And so when you hear the stories of that anthropy in people's flesh, it's a real thing. Maybe this thing had been chewing on me more than one night. I might have had an itchy spot or something from it and didn't recognize that at that time. Or it might have been feasting on me for a while every night in the same spot, is what I am thinking, is what happened. And I didn't realize it. I did a lot of manual labor. We lived on a mountain. We packed water for everything we did. And I worked in this mansion and these cabins, cleaning them for these very wealthy people um, in Arizona, in Payson, Arizona, in the mountains. So, I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. Such a beautiful place to live. Wild horses that had called me, and I even put my two little sons on this one stud. Oh, he was so a beautiful buckskin. And I called him up to me and I put one kid on there and the other, and I had my arm around them because they were that little, little enough. 6 and about or 7 and 4, somewhere around in there. Little people. And patted the horse and let them kind of sit on his back where I could take him down and put him turn. I would have took the whatever happened, but yeah, fr- made friends with wild. I made a friends with another buckskin that was wild on a mountain my ex was there, and I called him. He's like, "You can't get him to come to you," and I did, and I jumped on his back too, and was talking to him and patting him, and we walked along a little bit, and then I got down, and so yeah, I got this. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. No, anyway, yeah, got a thing with wild horses. I can call them to me. Wild deer too, and some other animals. Just by watching them and getting to know what they like and what they don't like, and the tones of our voices, and different things. So when I met my horse, she was totally crazy. She had a few sicknesses and things to overcome, and she had a murderous streak. After about a month, and it took about 6 weeks, I had her leaning her head on my shoulder, and her lip would quiver. I was telling her all about her life, just guessing from how she acted, but I was telling her all about it, you know. And she started crying. She put her head on my shoulder, and she's a big baby, you know. She liked it that I brought a fan to her stall. She watched me build her house for her, and then I brought a fan and put it on her, and I was singing to her when I was building it, and yeah, she liked that. Yeah, I made friends with a crazy fucking horse. The Yeah, one of the craziest I ever met. Oh, she hated men. She kind of got over that, but not entirely, which was a good thing. She's like a giant watchdog for me. But anyway, coming over or over coming over. There you go, dyslexic. Overcoming chaotic times. This world is so wild nowadays. I mean, it's always been. Seems like it more because we have media that pushes a lot of things that really aren't real, you know. So I just never really wanted to be like most people. That gave me my example of who I did not want to be, you know? So, like the story I was telling Doug this morning is true, and they usually use the scenario as two brothers. But I'll just everybody. I'm always picking on the guys, so here you go. Um, there's two sisters, and one became an alcoholic, and was asked how come you became an alcoholic, and she's like, from watching my mother. And they asked the other sister, how come you're not an alcoholic? And she said, from watching my mother. You know, that's right there the biggest explanation I can give to you why I am so different from watching people, you know? Yeah. So I guess basically the moral of the story is don't let life get you down. If it's important for you to keep up walls in the world and not to get too personal for your own protection, that might be the route for you. For me, I'm an open book on purpose. It irritates a lot of people because I can dig into areas where they have even anger issues that they will not admit to. and it could be misplaced anger issues, like when you have a boss that has a bitchy wife or whatever, and he comes in and he's just like slaying everybody in the office or whatever, wherever you're at, and you're like, this guy's just well, yeah, and so is his wife. So, you know how do you keep happy in a situation like that? Well, first off, you have to know when you go into work every day that this is going to be like that. It's even with a job, what are you going to settle for? I don't tolerate anything anywhere ever. If I don't like something in my life, I change it. And that's that my ability to change like that has led me in a lot of areas where other people don't adventure because they're so stuck with the same old comfort zone, you know. So I hope some of this kind of helps somebody. Just like I say, and the world's very chaotic nowadays, and who can you trust? Well, um, most people are very susceptible to the dark force that's in the ether, and aren't really skilled on critical thinking and logical thinking. They're kind of following after things that are illogical, like the rest of people. And so to stand out on your own like that, yeah, you're going to probably have less friends in your life, but you'll have very good ones. You'll have ones that know that you're willing to be honest at every move and not intentionally put up a wall, um, and make a greater barrier in people than there needs to be. If you aren't playing the game, you'll succeed in other ways that they won't. Yeah, that's true. So I don't know. Just real quick, I have a message. I don't know if Constantine from Russia saw my message from Doug, but if you see this, hopefully you'll know he'll be back on Facebook in a while. But right now he's banned because he was naughty and they blocked him off there. And now they're making him jump through hoops to get back on. He's got to have time and go to. We have a landline here off of a satellite. It's not a cell phone. And so he's not able to get the stupid code that he needs. So he's been busy, but he's gonna take some time when he has time. And him and his friend's gonna let him use call their cell phone, so Doug can get that code and get back on Facebook because he misses talking to you too. So I had wrote hi and love from us to you and Irina and your family. I don't want to say your beautiful daughter's name on here. But love to you all from us. And Doug will be back on Facebook. He misses you, and he knows you probably are wondering, because you guys are close on there. So, yeah, just wanted to let you know that that's his message, our message for you. you know. So he's thinking about you, is what I'm saying, yeah. And he'll be back on there as soon as he can. It might be a week or two or somewhere in there, but not too awfully long, I think. It's been about a month, or maybe not, a couple weeks, maybe. Yeah. He started having problems after some posts that he had been talking about, I don't know, some government or whatever. The stuff that I usually try to avoid, that type of stuff. You know, I'm more into digging deep into what hurts you, and I might, I might, if I'm insulted, oh yeah, I'm gonna, I'm gonna hurt you probably, most likely, and unregrettably so. So, but I try not to even do that. But I never strike first, but I finish it. You know, so that's just me. Yeah. And for the person that, like Bruce Lee's theory of explosive onslaught, non-stop combat. If you're combative, that's the only way you can really go into things. It's not like you can just walk up and slap somebody once and think that you won a war. It's like insulting me if you do that. I'm not just gonna slap once. You're gonna get an onslaught, you know, such is life. Yes, if you bring chaos into my life, I will turn it on you. In fact, if I see you're chaotic, you'll probably have more of it just from your own thoughts. You know, people bring that on themselves. You don't bring on physical harm from anybody else or that type of thing. Well, you might, but nothing anybody does when they're cruel intentionally is the fault of any other human being. That's on them. Yeah. So, okay, I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a really wonderful weekend. I intend on that. And my coconut cake turned out pretty good. A little bit dry because of the amount of coconut I put in it. A little overboard on the nut part. But yeah, anyway, it was good. Luckily, I had some ice cream with it, so that totally helped. So, all right, everybody, I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day, wherever you're at.